Well, shifting focus to the top focus at this hour, where politics has erupted over the deportation of illegal Indian immigrants from the United States, with Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann accusing the government of deliberately selecting Amritsar as the landing spot for the second flight carrying the deportees. Bhagwant Mann questioned as to why Amritsar was selected as the landing spot and what was the criteria behind this very decision. He even went on to say that this was a conspiracy by the central government to defame Punjab and Punjabis.
ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਚੁਣਨ ਦਾ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਟੇਰੀਆ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਤੋਂ ਟਰੰਪ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਬਣੀ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਡਿਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਨੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਗੈਰ ਕਾਨੂੰਨੀ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਗਏ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਲਾਇਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ उस वेले मीडिया सारे मौजूद सी अमृतसर चलो पहला जहाज उन्होंने ला लिया पता नहीं की क्राइटेरिया हुण दूजा जहाज आ रहा जी दूजा जहाज भी कहने अमृतसर उतरूगा जी कल क्यों जी अमृतसर चुनने का क्राइटेरिया दस्से मैनू केंद्र सरकार मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स विदेश मंत्राला अमृतसर नूं क्यों चुनदे हो तुसीं बदनाम करने वास्ते चुनदे हो पंजाबियों को बदनाम करने वास्ते चुनते हो बई तुसी नैशनल प्रॉब्लम है डिपोर्टेशन की पहली गल तो यह इस वक्त मोदी का जहाज भी हवा च है अमरीका तो आ रहा ट्रंप को मिल के ते मगरी वो आ रहा ये गिफ्ट लेके आ रहे कि बेड़ियां ना जकड़े हुए साडे भारती आ गिफ्ट दिता ने ट्रंप ने मेरा दोस्त मेरा मेरा ये मेरा मैं तो उनको ट्रंप बुलाता हूं अकेला ट्रंप कैसे हो हाउडी मोदी है ना अब की बार ट्रंप सरकार पता नहीं की नारे दे के आ गिफ्ट लेके आ रहे हो तुसी जेडे
Congress MLA from Punjab Prayagraj Singh also voiced similar concerns, describing the repeated landing of deportation flights in Punjab as unfortunate. As per reports, a second flight carrying illegal Indian immigrants from the United States is scheduled to land in Amritsar on February 15th. The flight will be carrying 119 immigrants, and as per the sources, 67 of these are from Punjab, 33 from Haryana, while the remaining belongs to other states in India.
भगवंत मान जी पंजाब के नौजवान जो 5-5, 4-4, 2-2 एकड़ बेच के बेचारे अपने गरीब माँ बाप की जायदाद अमेरिका गए, ट्रैवल एजेंटों ने उनको लूटा, उनको इलीगल रस्तों से अमेरिका में घुसाया और भगवंत मान जी की सरकार आंखें मूंद कर बैठी रही। ट्रैवल एजेंटों से पैसे लेते रहे ये लोग, पुलिस प्रशासन ट्रैवल एजेंटों से पैसा लेता है, वरना बताइए कोई ट्रैवल एजेंट पंजाब में कैसे पनप सकता है। आज उन गरीब माँ बाप का क्या हाल हो रहा है जिनकी 2-3 एकड़ ज़मीन थी वो भी बिक गई और बच्चा वापस आ गया, और आज ये कह रहे हैं कि पंजाब को बदनाम किया जा रहा है। पंजाब को तो आपने बदनाम किया है, पूरी दुनिया में बदनाम किया है। हजारों नौजवान बेरोजगार कर दिए तुमने, गरीब माँ बाप की जमीन बिकवा दी तुमने और उनको इस तरह से सड़कों पे लाके रख दिया। आज माँ बाप सुसाइड करने की नौबत आ गई है और आप अभी भी नौटंकी और ड्रामेबाजी कर रहे हो। जाइए अमेरिकन एम्बेसी के बाहर जाके धरना दीजिए। आम आदमी पार्टी को सोचना चाहिए किस तरह से उन्होंने पंजाबियों को बर्बाद करने का काम किया, और ये कहता था अमेरिका से छोड़ के इंडिया आएंगे, यहाँ तो बेचारे जमीनें बेच बेच के जा रहे हैं और अभी भी नौटंकी कर रहे हैं।
ये प्रश्न उनको अपनी सरकार से पूछना चाहिए, क्योंकि जो लोग आ रहे हैं उसमें ज़्यादातर लोग पंजाब के हैं या कुछ हरियाणा के हैं, और ये बताएं कि जो लोग यहाँ से एजेंट्स यहाँ से उनको भेजते हैं, लाखों रुपया इनसे लेकर जो इनको डंकी रूट से या इनको इलीगल तरीके से भेजते हैं, उनके बारे में कोई नहीं बात करते। ये जो बच्चों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार वहाँ पे कर रही है, उसके बारे में चर्चा क्यों नहीं करते।
पर बुनियादी सवाल जो आज तक सरकार ने, मैंने संसद में भी ये बात उठाई थी, एनडीए भाजपा सरकार ने उसका जवाब नहीं दिया कि क्या जो अमेरिकी कानून के तहत प्रक्रिया है उसका पालन किया गया है इनको वापस भेजने के लिए कि नहीं। कोई डिपोर्टेशन ऑर्डर आज तक कोई सार्वजनिक नहीं हुए हैं। जिन लोगों को वापस भेजा गया है, क्या उनको कोई डिपोर्टेशन ऑर्डर दिए गए थे, उनको कोई कागज दिया गया था कि किस कानून के तहत आपको वापस भेजा गया है। और दूसरी बात, ये देश का स्वाभिमान कितना ज्यादा गिरता है कि आप बेड़ियां लगा के, हथकड़ियां लगा के, उनको जलील करके 40-40 घंटे आप उनको शौचालय नहीं जाने दीजिए। और भगवंत मान जी की बात बिल्कुल सही है कि इनको पंजाब क्यों लाया जा रहा है।
Now shifting focus to the national capital, where the Central Vigilance Commission ordered a probe into the renovation of the 6 flag-star bungalow, the residence of former Chief Minister of Delhi Arvind Kejriwal. This comes after CPWD submitted factual reports alleging potential violations of building norms for a mansion covering 40,000 square yards. Accordingly, CVC has asked CPWD to conduct a detailed investigation on the allegations that building norms were flouted to construct this very building. The reconstructed bungalow was the official residence of Arvind Kejriwal as Delhi Chief Minister from 2015 till October 2024, when he vacated the bungalow after resigning from his post under fire from the Bharatiya Janata Party over corruption charges. Now, staying with the national capital, it has been over a week since the election results in Delhi were announced, and yet Bharatiya Janata Party has not revealed the name of the new chief minister. According to the BJP sources, BJP is working on a detailed formula to finalize the names of the chief minister's post. Initially, 15 names were shortlisted from the 48 elected MLAs. These names were narrowed down to 9 based on many equations and factors, including the caste equations. The Chief Minister, along with the Speaker and key ministers, will be chosen from the group of 9 candidates. Sources suggested that the top leadership has already completed most of their groundwork and the decision will be announced once the Prime Minister approves it. Sources also indicated to News9 further that a meeting of BJP Legislative Party is likely to take place on February 17th or February 18th. Following this, the swearing-in ceremony is expected to be held on February 19th or February 20th. Now, Maharashtra government has set up a special 7-member committee headed by the DGP to frame a law against love jihad. A government resolution said that apart from the DGP, the panel would have 6 members from various departments, 1 each from the Women and Child Development, Minority Development Department, Law and Judiciary, Social Justice and Special Assistance Department, and 2 from Home Department. CM Devendra Fadnavis has said in the past that Maharashtra was planning to introduce a law against forced religious conversions, particularly in cases of interfaith marriages through conversion, following similar legislations enacted in Uttar Pradesh and other states. Now, time to shift our focus to Karnataka, where protests erupted in Bengaluru over the recent metro fare hike, with ABVP members leading demonstrations in different parts of Bengaluru. The protests have now resulted in police action. ABVP members staged a protest near Majestic Metro Station opposing the metro fare hike. The demonstration led to police crackdown, with an FIR filed against 16 protesters at a local police station. Authorities stated that the case was filed for protesting without prior permissions. As MahaKumbh 2025 enters its 34th day, the Uttar Pradesh government announced that over 54 lakh devotees have taken a holy dip at Sangam till 10 a.m. today, bringing the total number of devotees to an astonishing 50.11 crore. With over a week left before the MahaKumbh concludes on February 26th, the MahaKumbh is already on track to surpass all expectations, reinforcing its global stature as world's largest gathering in human history. Key bathing days like Mauni Amavasya saw an overwhelming 8 crore devotees, with other significant days such as Makar Sankranti drawing 3.5 crore pilgrims to take dip at Triveni Sangam. Even on weekdays, Over 2 crore devotees bathed on January 30th and February 1st, while Posh Purnima witnessed 1.7 crore devotees, reinforcing the scale and significance of the gathering. Now News 9 is on the ground getting you all the latest. My colleague Deepak Badana with this exclusive ground report.
These people have unwittingly broken a world record here. Today, the Maha Kumbh 2025 has become the largest ever human gathering in anywhere in the world and at any point in time. So let's hear. आप कहाँ से आए हैं?
हम अलीगढ़ से आए हैं।
अलीगढ़ से आए हैं। आप
दिल्ली से।
दिल्ली से। आप कहाँ से आए हैं?
हम नोएडा से आए हैं।
नोएडा से
जी।
I come from ग्वालियर।
मथुरा।
अच्छा, मुझे बताइए आप लोग अभी क्यों आए हैं? मतलब मौनी अमावस्या निकल गया, माघ पूर्णिमा निकल गया, अभी आने का कोई कारण?
कोई कारण नहीं।
फेस्टिवल तो अभी भी चल रहा है तो इसलिए हम अभी भी आ रहे हैं। 26 फरवरी आए थे ना, वहाँ पहले भी आए थे।
अच्छा, मुझे ये बताइए क्या आपको लग रहा था कि अभी कम भीड़ होगी तो अभी आने में बेहतरी है?
सोचा था मगर है नहीं ऐसा, है नहीं यहाँ पे। अभी भी उतनी ही है भीड़, अभी भी उतनी भीड़।
मुझे ये बताइए सबसे बड़ी आज तक की ये ह्यूमन गैदरिंग है, असुविधाएं तो होनी थी, आप उस सब के बावजूद यहाँ क्यों है?
हम अपने धर्म सनातन धर्म के प्रति आस्था लेकर के आए हैं, और इसीलिए गंगा
हमारे सनातन धर्म के प्रति पूर्ण आस्था और पूर्ण विश्वास है, इसलिए हम यहाँ केवल एक बार नहीं।
आस्था नहीं है तो कुछ भी नहीं है, आस्था होगी सब कुछ है, ये दूंगा आपको।
So, as you'll hear, these people are very well aware of the inconveniences that they face here in the MahaKumbh. However, they're here owing to their belief and their faith. They're ready for whatever comes in MahaKumbh 2025. मुझे ये बताइए कि आप लोग कहाँ से आए हैं वैसे?
हम लोग दुबई से आए हैं।
एंड वैसे रहने वाले
हम वैसे कानपुर के हैं, यूपी के, पर हम दुबई में रहते हैं 7 साल से।
अच्छा, मुझे ये बताइए कि आप लोग अभी क्यों आए हैं? मतलब मौनी अमावस्या निकल गया, माघ पूर्णिमा निकल गया, कोई लॉजिक था या अभी टाइम मिला?
हमने पहले से ही ये सोच के रखा था इस टाइम पे आएंगे, और हर दिन में एक आस्था जो है वो एक अलग लेवल की है। आज भी आप लोगों में देखिए कितना जोश है, तो आज भी वही कोई भी त्योहार हो उससे मतलब नहीं है, हर दिन एक महाकुंभ है।
Now, with rising incomes and an increasing love for exploration, Indian travelers are embarking on remarkable journeys like never before. People are getting eager to experience the world and discover its wonders, fueled by an urge to relax, rejuvenate and connect with diverse cultures. Radhika Singhal, who is Miss Tourism International 2024, speaks on how travel like a celebrity. Here's a News 9 exclusive.
You know, traveling these days is not just about satisfying the soul, but it's satisfying all the dreams and aspirations of the soul as well.
Absolutely.
And you are Miss Tourism International. First of all, tell us, what is it like to hold that position as Miss Tourism International?
Thank you for the question. It's an extreme honor to hold this position because you're not just a girl anymore. You're a woman who is representing a whole generation, Generation Z, and also representing her country. So it's a huge honor and a privilege to be Miss Tourism International India.
And as Miss Tourism International, where all have you traveled to?
Oh, I've been fond of traveling since I was a child, and I'm quite a globetrotter. I've traveled in India, be it in the mountains, the south, and abroad as well, the UK, Ireland. I went to Malaysia for my finals of Miss Tourism International in December, and I just want to add a lot of countries to my list.
Lot more countries to my list. What is your dream destination?
That's an interesting question. Thank you for the question. So as I have traveled as a child, I'm a national level athlete. So I used to go for competitions all over India. So I got to travel a lot. And when I traveled abroad to UK, Ireland, what I found, what I tried to find was parallels between my own culture and that of the nation that I'm traveling to. So to answer your question, I'm always finding my country in other countries as well. So my dream destination is India.
Fascinating. Dream destination is India. So much of Indians now taking to traveling
Yes.
within India. But tell us, what is it like to travel as a beauty queen, travel like a celebrity, so to speak?
I never thought I would get that question, but to travel like a celebrity, as you said, it's about responsibility. I would say it's not only about luxury, it's not only about brands, it's about the responsibility you uphold. When I was training for my pageant, this is something that I learned, that the attitude comes before the crown comes.
Now time to shift focus to West Asia, where Kiev and its European allies demand on Thursday that they be included in any peace negotiations after US President Donald Trump spoke by phone with Russia's Putin and said Ukraine could neither have all of its land back nor join NATO. Here's a special report.
U.S. President Donald Trump's recent call with Russian President Vladimir Putin has shocked Kyiv and its European allies. They fear the White House might make a deal to end the war between Russia and Ukraine without them, after Trump announced Kyiv won't get all of its land back or join NATO.
Any quick fix is a dirty deal.
This is European Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas.
It is clear that any deal behind our backs will not work. Any agreement will need also Ukraine and Europe being part of it, and this is clear that appeasement also always fails.
She and other European officials have denounced the apparent concessions offered by Trump in advance. But U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Thursday rejected criticism of Washington's negotiation strategy.
But simply pointing out realism, like the borders won't be rolled back to what everybody would like them to be in 2014, is not a concession to Vladimir Putin.
Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Thursday that Ukraine would of course be involved in talks to end the war, but there would be a separate U.S.-Russian strand to the negotiations. His comments were unlikely to reassure Kyiv or alleviate the concerns of European governments. Here's Lithuanian Defense Minister Dovile Shakajena, who is attending NATO meetings in Brussels.
Whether we decide to fall under the illusion that Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin are going to find a solution for all of us, and that would be a deadly trap. Or we will, as Europe, embrace our own economic, financial, and military capacity, and we will be the ones who will be deciding what will happen in Europe and in Ukraine with United States.
A European diplomatic source said ministers had agreed to engage in a frank and demanding dialogue with U.S. officials, some of the strongest language in the diplomatic lexicon, at the annual Munich Security Conference beginning on Friday.
Well, moving on, a rebel alliance including the M23 group said on Friday that it had seized a strategic airport as they continued their advance towards eastern Congo's second biggest city, Bukavu. Here's a special report.
Rwandan-backed rebels in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo said on Friday they'd seized control of the strategic Kavumu airport that serves the region's second biggest city, Bukavu. This video shows armed men in the town of Katana, several miles north of the airport, and that location has been verified by Reuters. 3 sources said M23 rebels had seized Katana earlier on Friday. A spokesperson for the rebel alliance that includes M23 said in a social media post that they had also captured the airport, which is mostly used for NGO and military flights. That was confirmed by a member of the Civil Security Service. Rebels captured Goma, the biggest city in eastern Congo, at the end of last month. Since then, they've been pushing south towards Bukavu. Capturing the capital of South Kivu province would represent an unprecedented expansion of territory under the M23's control. And it would deal a further blow to Kinshasa's authority in the east. On Friday, Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi was abroad seeking international support to help end the crisis. He flew to Germany to join other world leaders at the Munich Security Conference. However, his spokesperson said Tshisekedi would not be attending an African Union summit on Saturday, with his Prime Minister going instead. The Eastern Congo conflict is due to be high on the agenda in Addis Ababa. On Friday, the UN's refugee agency voiced concern over what it described as a rapidly deteriorating situation. It said the war had left 350,000 displaced people with no roof over their heads.
Well, shifting focus to United States, where the army has declared that transgender individuals will no longer be permitted to enlist following an executive order signed by President Donald Trump that prohibited transgender ideology and the use of quote-unquote invented pronouns in the military. In a post on social media platform X, the US Army wrote, and I quote, "The US Army will no longer allow transgender individuals to join the military and will stop performing or facilitating procedures associated with gender transition for service members. Effective immediately, all new accessions for individuals with a history of gender dysphoria are paused. All unscheduled, scheduled or planned medical procedure associated with affirming or felicitating a gender transition for service members are paused." In fact, the tweet further said that individuals like these have volunteered to serve our country and will be treated with dignity and respect. In an executive order signed on January 27, President Donald Trump stated that identifying with a gender different from one's assigned sex at birth conflicts with the soldier's commitment to an honorable, truthful and disciplined lifestyle even in their personal lives. Now, 7 years after their son's death in one of the deadliest school shooting in US history at the Stoneman Douglas High School, Manuel and Patricia Oliver are raising awareness about gun violence through an exhibition in United States. Currently being held in Washington, D.C. Here's a special report.
Manuel Oliver is performing a play about the death of his son, Joaquin.
We send our kids to, well, no, hold on. I don't. Some people send their kids to school. I don't because I can't.
Joaquin was killed on February 14, 2018, in one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. He was one of 17 victims. Since his death, Joaquin's parents, Manuel and Patricia Oliver, have traveled across the U.S. raising awareness about gun violence through their nonprofit Change the Ref.
Bueno, cuando asesinaron a Joaquín.
Well, when Joaquin was murdered, as a parent, you really don't know what to do. You feel a bit lost. But it didn't take long for us to realize that perhaps there was something we could start, something that could somehow prevent other families from going through the same thing. And in that search, we found that art, due to our direct relationship with it, could be that alternative.
Last month, they opened the exhibit Demand at Washington, D.C.'s Woolly Mammoth Theater, marking 7 years since the tragedy. It features the play performed by Manuel titled Guac.
I hit a wall that represents those shots from an AR-15. And then I place in those holes sunflowers. O sea, nosotros con esto lo que logramos es que
with this, what we achieve is making it public, welcoming the average citizen to talk about gun violence. That gun violence should not be a taboo subject that's tucked away in an office in the White House or in an office in Congress.
Patricia says just doing something is a reward.
My goal here is, first of all, to bring awareness that this is an issue as tragic as it is, but it's a reality, and that we all have to work together. And that's what I've been seeing through all these years.
Last year, there were 330 school shootings in the U.S., according to the K-12 school shooting database, which lists shootings since 1966. That's the second highest total, topped only by the 349 shootings in 2023.
Tragedy has struck South Korea's port city of Busan, where a massive fire engulfed a resort construction site. leaving several dozens dead and over a dozen injured. The fire broke out at the first floor of under construction hotel, reportedly near an indoor swimming pool area. Thick smoke quickly spread, forcing authorities to launch an emergency evacuation. Around 100 people were rescued, with 14 individuals airlifted from the rooftop by helicopter. Officials have confirmed that at least 25 people sustained light injuries, many suffering from smoke inhalation. Authorities suspect insulation materials near the fire's origin may have fueled the blaze. South Korea's acting president has ordered the mobilization of all available resources to contain the fire and aid victims. Firefighters continue their effort to fully extinguish the flames and ensure no one is trapped inside. This devastating incident raises serious concerns about the fire safety at construction site. What caused the fire? Could better safety measures have prevented it? Investigations are now underway to answer all these questions. Tens of thousands of Belgians took to the streets on Thursday, which is February 13th, in protest over the new government's planned pension reforms during the first day of a multi-day strike that halted all air traffic in the country. Here's a report.
It's a double penalty for us workers today, as workers and as citizens, because taxes are going to rise and because local authorities will not be able to cope with everything the government is going to impose to them.
We're not interested in retiring much later on a lower salary. We give a lot of ourselves. We're there, we're present when asked, and now it's backfiring. We actually feel a bit betrayed.
Shell should take responsibility for environmental damage in Nigeria caused by oil spills. A community leader said this on Thursday as a pivotal hearing in the lawsuits brought against British oil major began at London's High Court. Here's a special report.
Protesters gathered outside London's High Court on Thursday said Shell should take responsibility for environmental pollution in Nigeria, as a pivotal hearing in lawsuits brought against the British oil major began. Thousands are suing Shell and its Nigerian subsidiary SPDC over oil spills in the Niger Delta, a region blighted by pollution, conflict and corruption related to the oil and gas industry. Godwin Bebe Okpabi, leader of the Ogale community in the Niger Delta, spoke outside the court.
Shell, Royal Dutch Shell, have polluted our land, destroyed our way of life, and the two basic rights that we are supposed to have, rights to live, and then rights to a clean environment, they are saying we don't have it. And that's why we're here in the courts.
In Nigeria, hundreds of indigents barricaded a Shell manifold where a recent oil spill overflowed from a saver pit. Here's an Ogale community leader, Kagima Igwe Benjamin.
Our crops is not coming out. We don't have drinking water mostly. The underground water is seriously affected. Even when you dug a borehole now, you can't get good water to drink. The whole of Ogale.
Decades of oil spills caused widespread environmental damage, destroying the livelihood of millions of communities near the Niger Delta and impacted their health. Shell, however, says the vast majority of spills were caused by illegal third-party interference, such as pipeline sabotage and theft. Shell's lawyers said in court filings that SPDC recognises it is obliged to compensate those harmed, even if it is not at fault. But Okpabi said Shell had made billions of dollars in Nigeria and had a moral responsibility to prevent and remediate oil spills.
That money is blood money.
Parts of the case began nearly a decade ago. In 2021, the UK's Supreme Court ruled that the case should be heard in the English courts. The lawsuit is the latest example of multinationals being sued in London for the acts of overseas subsidiaries.